It's historical romance author. I also write as Elise Wiles in the paranormal and contemporary romance genres. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button so you do not miss an episode, and let's get started in today's video. So, you have an amazing novel, and you think that it is perfect for maybe the small screen, maybe the big screen. How do you start? Where do you go from the idea of taking your novel into a movie or a TV series or something that is streamed on Netflix or etc.? So today I'm going to break it down a little bit. This is tips and tricks that I have learned from experience over the last couple of years in working to get the Forsaken series franchise before production companies and into the marketplace to get it made into movies. And it has been a bit of a learning curve, I will be honest with you. It is different, but it is well worth it. So today I'm just going to go over some of the tips, the tricks, things that I've learned, what to expect, and kind of give you some just generalized information. And I will also be giving you some tips and some links down below in the description box to programs that you can use to do your adaptations from your novel into your script. So let's get started with number one, the adaptation of the novel into a script. Now this is the first part of it. Now if you are looking at doing a movie or a TV series, you really have to understand what your script is supposed to be, what it needs, how you're supposed to do it, and there are some amazing resources out there to actually help you. If you're agented, your agent may actually be able to give you some templates or some examples to do that. Now they may also give you the option of them doing the work and you not having to do the work, but I find that it's a really good idea to do the work and save yourself some money. So when you're doing your adaptation, regardless of the length of your novel, you have to understand your script or the screenplay is going to be your dialogue. It is not necessarily descriptions. It's not the, it's not the flower. You're not rewriting your book. You're just taking your dialogue out of the book, putting that into the screenplay, along with your scene breaks, your fades ins, fades outs, your voiceovers, some descriptions, so that they have an idea of what that particular scene is supposed to look like besides the dialogue. Now, it's been my experience that when I have gone in to do screenplay contests and those sorts of things, one of the things that I've learned is that they don't want a massive script. They don't want 220 pages of dialogue and script. They want something that is between 80 and 120 pages maximum. Now, depending if you are writing, say, a TV series where you are looking at a 30-minute episode, your script isn't going to be 80 pages. It's going to be a little bit less. So you really have to understand what you're aiming for with your script, what you're trying to do with it, and where your end goal is going to be. The second part of doing the adaptation of the script is formatting. You want to make sure that the formatting that you are trying to do is actually the formatting that is required. Now, scripts are specifically designed in such a way, they're formatted in a specific way that it's pretty clear with the headers and and everything that goes in there. So there are a couple of ways, a couple of options to help with that formatting, but regardless of which option you use, it's always, always, always a good idea to know what the format requirements are. And there is a website, and I can't for the life of me remember what it is off the top of my head right now, but I will have it down in the description box for you that gives you that detail. So the three options for formatting of your screenplay are going to be Final Draft, which is a industry standard program that you can purchase, and it does a lot of the work for you. It's fantastic. I really like it. It's a learning curve. You do have to learn the ins and outs of it, but it is worth it. It does cost about $120, I think, is what I found it to be. Now, of course, that's US dollars, so it could be a little bit more if you're in Canada or somewhere else. Now, if you don't have that kind of money to spend on a program, Trelby has a program that they use, that they have provided, which is free. Absolutely phenomenal. I highly recommend it. I use it to do my initial adaptations, then I just export the script, and then I can play with it and do what I need to do, and so on and so forth. Now, most of the time you're going to look at doing, your scripts are going to be in PDF form. When you do your exports, it is just, or the specific industry format or form that you're going to get. That's just the way it's going to be. And then, of course, your third option, which is a little bit more labor intensive, is your Word document, because that's just basically what you're going to do is you're doing a manual format template for your page, everything for each page that you're doing, and so that you have your character, your header, your dialogue, your scene breaks, all of those sorts of things are all outlaid manually rather than using the program, which allows you to do so in a little bit more streamlined manner. It's not as time effective as well if you're doing it manually, especially if you're just getting started. If you're just getting started, it's your first adaptation, I would recommend going with Trelby, just because they have been phenomenal. There's never been an issue when I do any of the exports or anything like that. I really find that it has been beneficial, and it's easy on the pocketbook as well. So that is your key. Now, understanding when you're also, one of the other things that you need to understand when you are doing your adaptation is when you're taking your dialogue from your book and you're putting it into your screenplay, that's the first step. The next step, of course, is your Bible, and that is a little bit more of a breakdown. That's more of your scene by scene. That's your descriptions. This is, this is scene A. This is scene 1. Character A is going to be doing this. Character B is doing this. This is the point of the scene. So that's another part of it. You also want to make sure that you have the information about every single character, whether there are, they're just the character that walked by on the street, it's an extra, whatever. You need to have every character's description there, but the main characters, or the lead characters are the ones that you want to actually have the biggest chunk of description about, because you want to make sure that the person who's going to be doing the sitting down and doing the auditions understands what you're looking for when it comes time to do those auditions. Registration. This is a huge thing that I have found is vital, regardless of what you are looking at, whether you're looking at doing TV, whether you're looking at doing movies, streaming, anything. If you are looking at pitching your project to a production company, you need to have your work registered with the WGA. Now, WGA is the Writers Guild of America. It is an association that registers your work, which offers 5 years at a time of protection in case someone wants to come in and say, no, that's my project, you have it. It does not replace a copyright with your copyright office wherever you are, whether it's Canada, whether it's the US, whether it's England, doesn't matter where it is. They do not replace that copyright. And you do not have to be a US citizen to register with the WGA. You simply have to be willing to pay the price to register. It is very very inexpensive. It's $20 per script. So that's always a good thing. And it is well worth it. It is a write-off. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know everyone's tax situations, but I can say from the Canadian point of view, if it's something that works towards an expense for your business, it's a write-off. The other thing is, when you're doing that, you can do a membership with them as well. It is a little expensive in my opinion, but again, that is something that is for you to decide. And you also want to make sure that when you do register, you're looking at the bigger picture. Now, if you have a massive amount of scripts to register, for example, the Forsaken series franchise, which is written by myself as Elise Wells and my co-author Sierra Lake, there are 20 books in that. So there are 20 different scripts in that series that have to be registered. Now, we don't have all of the books written, we don't have all of the books adapted into scripts yet, but each one will need to have its own registration. So when you're looking at it, I mean, 20 of 20 is 400. So it's $400, but it's well worth it because it gives us that peace of mind to know that it's registered, and the registration not only protects us, but it also opens doors, because 98% of the production companies that I have dealt with or that I have talked to through my networking have all said if it's not registered, they don't want to touch it. Because they're protecting themselves, and I understand that. So yes, you want to make sure it's registered. Then, so you've got your adaptation started, you've got your Bible done, you've got your registration done. So what's next? Okay, so now, depending on where you are in this process, you don't have to be an agent to do the adaptation. You don't have to have an agent to do the registration. You can do that all yourself. But if you're actually going to start pitching, now you need an agent, because most of the companies that I've dealt with or that I've spoken to want you to have an agent. So you want to find an agent that does that offers that option of a movie deal. To be fair, right? So looking for an agent that does movies, there are some that do literary as well as movies, or production, and you want to get one that is good, that's got good feedback, good good people that they're working with, that is been around for a while. There is nothing wrong with a new agency, but in my experience, a newer agency sometimes doesn't necessarily mean that they are set in the industry. So it's a personal preference. I'm not pro or anti new agency. It's just, from my experience, it's better to have someone with a little bit more experience, because then you know that they're going to kind of have an idea of how to avoid you getting ripped off. So having that agent is incredibly important. So once you've got your agent, now you can start doing your pitches, and your pitches are, depending on how you do it, your agent will do most of that. They're going to be doing the pitches for you. But if you're looking at doing it for yourself, and you want to know what the steps are, there are a couple of different ways that you can do this. Now, depending on how you're doing it, if you're going through, say, stage 32, you can either do it through a Skype call, or you can do a paper pitch. And your paper pitch is simply a 2 to 3 page document that carries absolutely everything about what you've got for that production company, that producer, to have a look at and see. And that's huge when you are looking at the options of how to move forward. If your agent is doing it, they're going to be sending it out to production companies, they're going to be mailing it out, they're going to be doing all of these things. And it's been my experience that if you don't hear back from a production company within 2 weeks, they're probably not interested in you. So emailing doesn't do any good. It's not going to assist you. It's not going to help you in the long run. So you have to be prepared mentally for a ton of no's. Rejection is going to be the norm for you when you are getting started in this process. So having that understanding is huge. Then, of course, when you're looking at the broader picture too, you also want to understand that you're not just pitching one single little idea. You're pitching a broader picture, something that's broader. And production companies look at things like, what is the Amazon ranking? What is your sales? How many sales have you made? Do you have a following? Have you crowdsourced enough people where you have, this market for your work? So you can't just, in my experience, you cannot just simply write a book, do the adaptation, and expect to land a deal. Unless, of course, you're like some authors like J.K. Rowling or Ellie James, or these sorts of authors who have seen these huge successes, and most of us will not see those successes right out the gate. So being prepared for the negative aspects is huge. So